Good morning, Bucks County Bites. I hope everyone is up and early, getting out and enjoying this beautiful, chilly weather. It feels like fall, it feels like Halloween, it feels like the time to go out and enjoy life. And it's going to be a new year in a few months. We start all over again. 2021. Let's get rid of 2020, huh? We are bringing in this morning a very, very special guest of mine, a very good friend of mine. Her name is Shannon, and she will do the introduction. She actually has her daughter coming on with her, so it's Shannon and Shauna. And I have known them a very long time, 20 plus years. And she asked me the other day, Martha, can I come on your podcast? Can I talk about anything? I said, sure. One of the things that I brought up the other day with Worth the Work with Amanda and Ryan, and they said that people need to talk about things. People don't feel comfortable sometimes to talk about what their problems are. Well, one of the things that Shannon has to bring to us this morning is about addiction and recovery and having a success afterwards, after going through it and actually getting a business together. From the bottom up, she has risen and she is shining. So she has a story to tell, and it's something that she's never talked about before in detail. So she'll be coming on here in a few minutes with her daughter Shauna. They're both at home and they're excited and nervous because they've never done something like this. And a lot of people don't come into a podcast and they just never have done something like this. Like I'm going to talk on a podcast? Oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. You know, it's just like talking to a friend on a phone. Give a call in. Let's talk about whatever's on your mind. Let's talk about all the problems out there with this pandemic. Let's talk about your life. What have you done to change things? Have you taken this time off to reflect on what you've done in the past? How can you help other people? How have I helped other people in business? I'm out here, I'm a voice, I talk to people, I get it out there, I promote it, it gets out on all those social media platforms and on the YouTube and then tagged, and then everything is out there. We've got listeners from all countries. You know, I looked at the stats and I'm really amazed. I'm out in Tokyo, I'm in Russia, I'm in all these Asian countries. I'm in the UK, I'm in Ireland, I'm in France, I'm in Spain, I'm all over the United States. You can see by state, by town. It is incredible to know the listeners are all over the world hearing about what we have to say. And there's 850,000 podcasts out there, so I'm really excited to know that you are listening. So soon, Shannon is going to be heard across the world, and Shauna is going to be right along her side talking about the addiction and the recovery and the business. Stay tuned. Okay, Bucks County and beyond. That's what I should call my podcast, Bucks County and Beyond. But we are Bucks County Bites, and we are about to give Shannon a call. She is excited to come on, and I'm excited to have her on here and talk about the things of what happened way back when and how she changed, and then how she came out of all of it to have a successful business. It was a lot to accomplish, but this is a story she's never told, and we have an exclusive with her. She feels comfortable with me because she's known me for over 20 years. So get ready. We're going to give Miss Shannon a call and her daughter Shauna.
Hello.
Good morning, my dear friend Shannon. How are you?
I am doing great, Martha. How are you?
I'm doing good. We've got an early rise here with Bucks County Bites. You're one of my earliest interviews for the show.
Oh, I feel privileged.
You are. It's a little bit more work to get ready because I have Hercules and Sam who are not doing well and have to be carried in and out of the house. So it
Oh
takes a
no.
long time to get them ready in order to get me ready in the studio to have a wonderful, wonderful talk with a friend that I've known for what? How long's it been now? 20 some years?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It has easily 25 years.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, can you believe it? 25 years. Oh, and
Yeah.
we've never left go. Get it? We've always been all over the world, but we've always stayed in touch.
Yes.
Through
Yeah.
good, through bad, through thick and thin, we've always have been there. And I only have a handful of friends that I can say that have done that. It's few, very few. And you're one
Yeah.
of those. Yeah.
Oh, thank
So,
you.
for
Nice.
Bucks County Bites, you're going to do this, and I know you've never done this before. You're going to introduce yourself to the audience, and I've done your intro already, a small portion, and I have introduced the audience of the world because we do have listeners all over the world, and including Asia, UK, Russia, Ireland, everywhere, and
Oh, good Lord.
oh yeah, it's everywhere. You would be surprised to see the stats, but don't think about that.
I
You're
just showed Shauna my hand's starting to shake. I'm like,
Shauna.
oh my
I know
God.
Shauna. Hey Shauna, how are you?
Hi, Martha. I'm good. How are
I'm
you?
good. I'm good. I'm excited to have both of you on here. This is great. The mother and daughter team, and so both of you, Shannon's going to introduce yourself, and then Shauna, I want you to chime in and get in there and talk and explain what you're going to talk about today. Okay? How's that?
Okay.
All right. It's your go. There you go.
Okay.
You're on.
I introduced myself. I'm Shannon, and I would say that I have experienced quite the life thus far, from being down to the depths of literal hell
Hmm.
with alcoholism, um, addiction, whatever you want to call it, and rising above that. And what my main goal is here is to show people that might be struggling with that, either the addict or an addict's family, their friend or something, kind of give some insight of maybe how they can help them along,
Mm-hmm.
um, get them help. Because, honestly, Martha, if you would have told me 10 years ago
Yeah.
that my life would be the way it is today, I would have absolutely fallen over laughing. I would have never in a
I
million years
know.
thought it.
I know.
Never. I mean, and you got to admit, I mean, like you said before, we've kept in contact through all these
Mm-hmm.
years. You've seen my ups and downs, and
Yes.
when I hit my downs, I mean,
They
they
were
were the
down.
epitome. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
knowing you all those years, I mean, and that, the amazing thing, and Shauna was there because I've known Shauna since she's been a child. I mean, very
Hmm.
young. So, interesting is when you came walking, when I came back to the farm, came back to my parents' place, and I redid that whole thing. I mean, I was business oriented. I always had it in my head to do business because that's what I grew up with. And when you came walking into the barn, I hadn't seen you in a long time. I was like, Shannon? I'm like, is that you?
I know.
I mean, we fell. I was like, we fell in each other's arms because I was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah,
I can't
yeah.
believe
I'm
it.
like, Martha, is
Yeah,
that
it was
you?
like, and and from that point, at least we were in the same, area. You were bringing your horse to me. You were gonna board your horse with me, and it's like, so I got to see those ups and downs, and I
Yeah.
was there and supported you through this whole thing. I've seen it from the
Oh yeah.
bottom of hell
Oh
to the
yes,
good
yes.
days. Yeah.
I remember vividly you
Oh,
coming to my house and
oh
you
my
know
gosh.
trying to convince me to eat because
Mm, it
I
was bad.
when you're that far into an addiction or alcoholism or even depression, I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
you forget to do the simple things because you're just trying to escape reality. And
Yeah.
you came to my house, you sat in my house
Oh
and
my
and
gosh. So
and
many
coaxed me
times.
and I'll never forget, it was Dunkin' Donuts hash browns. I remember it like it was yesterday. Do you remember?
To remember that. I remember a
You're
lot of
like, just,
stuff
one or
and
two, you just have to have something in your stomach. But,
oh my
while I
gosh.
have you on here with all of your audience and everything, I mean, I
It,
have to thank you, Martha, because you have never judged me.
no.
You
I
have always
knew
been very, very understanding. Sometimes you would shut me out, but that was a tough love
it
kind of
was
thing.
tough love.
And
We did a lot of tough
exactly.
love with you, yeah.
I I didn't see it at the time, of course. I thought,
Mm-mm.
oh God, my friend, she's abandoned me. But that is absolutely not what you did. And I see
Mm-mm.
that now with, a sober mind.
It,
And so I do want to thank you for that. And you
you're
have been
gonna
a
make me,
absolutely,
you're making me cry.
oh, I'm
And it wasn't supposed to start this early. Shauna,
but you have
get her under control over there.
yeah, yeah.
I'm trying. I've been trying for years, Martha.
But
Um,
you've just been one hell of a friend, and that is something that is very hard to come by. And thank you
I'm happy
for
to be here to see you. That you really, I mean, you went through hell,
yeah,
and
yeah,
and I knew that eventually one day, either this is gonna, it would kill you, or you
hmm
would come out of it. And
yes,
your kids, your kid Shauna, she was there the whole time, and I saw all of it happen, and it was heartbreaking. And how do we
yeah,
get you help? And we
yeah,
tried so many times, but
absolutely.
really, it is about the. I mean, it's about the person. Shauna, are you going to agree with this? It's about because you tried all
Oh
this.
yes, yes,
We've
numerous
all, and she finally. I mean, Shannon finally realized it's about her, and she needs to do it. And when you do it, that's when the healing begins, I believe. I mean, you can tell us and tell everybody how this all works because I've never been through like that. I don't have the addictions to like alcohol or any drugs or anything like that. I've never done, that wasn't my thing. My addiction was, I think my addiction is business. It's just, I'm not sure
right.
what I love life and I love helping people. That's probably one of my things. I love helping others. That's why I
And
started the
you're good at it.
podcast. I
And
love
you are
it.
good at it.
Um,
Yeah, you definitely
Keep
you
doing
are.
what you're doing.
Yeah, keep it up because I for one can say that you have made an impact on my life for the positive.
yeah.
And I've always envied you. I've always because you've been such a hard worker and determined and
Oh,
focused. and
I know.
and that, I mean, that's something that again, 10 and 20 years ago I would have never imagined I could have that. I could have that gift. And believe me when I say it was tough. It was a hard
Yes.
fight. It was
It,
literally clawing my way out of alcoholism. But you know what? You can do it. It's possible. We do recover. We do come out of it. And it's just a matter of determination. And I
yeah.
strongly believe that you need a purpose. An addict cannot quit for another person per se, or for another object or something. They have to want to better themselves, period. End of story.
So
Mm.
Shauna, she's been. So she saw. So she's with you all the time. She saw all this going on. She saw the ups and downs, the
Oh yeah.
brutal hell. And
Oh yeah.
so, I mean, what was it that started it all that you realized? I mean, because this is years. This is years of hitting rock bottom, coming back out, hitting rock bottom. I mean, where, and what year did it all? Like, where did it change? How did it change?
Well, it was about 5 years ago, right, Sean?
Yeah, I would say about 5 years ago, something, I don't know what, and I don't care what, but something clicked for her, and she realized that she had something going on, that there was a deeper problem in which um was causing her to drink and was causing her to not want to be in the present, and things of that sort. And like I said, I mean, I don't care what it was,
Mhm.
or anything like that, but I got my mom back. So
What was the process? What were the stages? So, you just kept going down, coming up, going, and it just was so many years of it, and something just clicked, and you don't know what it was that clicked. You're
I,
not
I think I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired.
okay.
Um, and you get to a point where, you know, the things that you never thought you would consider, suicide. You know, I'm not suicidal.
Did that come across? Did you actually?
Absolutely. Oh, yes, yes. In fact,
So,
I
wow.
can tell you, and stop me if I'm getting too in depth, but
Oh, you can
I,
go as far as you want to. You can go
all right.
deep.
Well, I actually the one of the last nights that I was drinking, I actually had enough. I've had enough of letting my kids down. I've had enough of not being able to keep a job. You know, I drank for so many years, and then it got to the point where I lost my husband because he too was, a severe alcoholic. We lost the house. I lost both of my parents.
Right.
I lost, well, like I said, I lost the house that I raised my children in. Couldn't keep a job. It was just one thing, and my
Mm.
drinking just kept getting worse and worse and worse.
How
And then
wow? How much were you drinking? How much at that point when all this
I was
was falling
drinking,
apart?
it was over 30 cans of beer a day.
Over 30 cans a day. Is that what you were doing?
So,
yeah.
At the
yes,
oh
30 cans a day. And I remember
oh my
that
god.
I actually planned one day, because I would just drink myself to oblivion, and then I would literally pass out where I was, and I'd wake up and I'd start drinking again. And this continued for days.
Well,
And
I remember a lot of it, but I didn't realize
yeah,
how many cans it was per
oh
day.
yeah, easy 30. And me being 125
I was
pounds,
just
that's a
gonna
lot of
say that.
food.
I'm like, how did you fit that much in you? Because you're not that big. I mean, you're like a
Right.
hundred some pounds,
Yep.
120.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there were times when I can count on one hand how many times I went to the emergency room because I drank
Oh,
myself
oh,
to the
duh.
point where they
Uh,
thought I was going to
I
die.
was there for one.
Yep.
One of those trips. I will never forget it.
Yep.
You
Yep.
won't. It's no.
Yeah. So I actually planned one day. I was sick of
Okay.
everything, and this is how bad I was. I mean, I considered taking my own life. I had a plan. I wrote a letter to my children. I had it all planned out. And I mean, I literally drank myself to the point where I forgot to kill myself.
Oh
I
no.
forgot. Yes,
You were suicidal, but you got so
absolutely.
drunk and intoxicated that you forgot to even do it.
Yep. Yep. Now, I don't know if that's a blessing or a curse. It was a terrible
Oh my gosh.
reality because, when you get that intoxicated, that not only do you consider something like that, but then you forget to do it. But
Oh my
thank
gosh.
God I did,
Thank
or I
God.
wouldn't be
Thank
here.
God. Shit. You're lucky you're here. You're lucky you've survived all this, because you've had years of this damage.
Yeah.
And
Believe me,
oh,
believe me when I say, I mean, I, whatever reason that people decide to quit or whatever, and they can give the kudos to whomever they want, but I truly think it was, first of all, my faith in God, and second, my children.
mm,
That was huge, and my friends.
yes.
They're what pulled me out of this hole that I never thought I could get out of.
And they
And
stuck by your side this whole time.
yeah,
Your
yeah.
kids were there, and they saw the worst of it, but they're there. They're by your side.
Yeah. Well, Shauna had She did take 10 months away from me. She had absolutely no contact. She has had enough of me. Don't blame her. And it tore my heart out. Um, because Shauna and I have always had a very, very close relationship with mother and daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And I was devastated, but you know what? It made me realize, that the damage I was doing. And, at the time I hated her for it. And it made my drinking career, as I call it,
Mm-hmm.
even worse. But if had she have not done that, I don't know if I would have changed. I don't know
So
if
do
I
you
would have.
think because your daughter Shauna, she left, Shauna, you left, right? And this is going back
did.
how many years ago?
Yeah.
No contact. So you didn't call her, you did nothing. And she tried to contact you and you just ignored her?
Yes, she actually, so I am 24 years old and I believe that I will get Easter baskets until the day I die. So, which is just, that's just my mom. That's just what she does.
Yeah.
And I was not living with her at the time. We had no contact, and I actually received an Easter basket from her. She dropped it
Oh.
off where I was staying.
Oh, wow.
I did nothing with it. It just stayed in the corner of my room. I mean, it was birthdays that passed. My mom and myself, we share the same month. I am born a day before her birthday.
Mm-hmm.
So we always celebrate together, and that year we did not. I was playing college softball. She was at none of my games. We did not talk. She would send me letters and I would not open them. It was one of the things where if I would have opened them, I knew in my heart that I would have reached out, and
Mm-hmm.
I did not feel as though she has changed. So I would have just been feeding into the addiction.
Right.
And as hard as it was for her, which I can't imagine being a mother and having your own daughter not communicating with you, but it was hard for me too.
It was a tough love.
That's my mom.
Right, you did tough love with your mother for a long time.
Yeah, I mean that's my mom. I don't have a very close relationship with my father, so my mom was always my mother and my father figure.
Mm-hmm.
So I had no parents, and that was very hard for me. And one day I accidentally ran into her, and
10 months later.
10 months later, yeah.
And this was after I was sober.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, this is after that you already...
She had gone to rehab.
Okay.
And she had changed her life around for the better.
But that was my fourth stint in rehab.
Yeah.
So
you did.
You're not going to go into rehab one time, and if you do, you're a walking miracle, and you're very determined. But it took me a few times.
Oh, yeah.
Go on, Shauna.
Oh, so you went through a few times before, and then Shauna actually saw you after like the fourth round that you went through.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will remember it for the rest of my life. I walked in, my aunt got sick, my mother's sister, and she went to visit her at the hospital, and I did not know that my mother was there at the time. So I went to visit, and she was in the room when I walked in, and it was, as corny as it sounds, it was like the whole world just stopped, and the only person that was in the room was my mother and I.
Oh my gosh.
And as my mom said, my mom and I have always had a very, very close bond. And we just started bursting out crying at the same exact time, and we just ran to each other and hugged each other. And then ever since then, we started getting closer and rebuilding that relationship, and here we are.
Yeah.
Now I'm never not by her side.
What a story. That's just amazing.
One door down from me.
Exactly.
So we have a closer bond now than we ever have, and maybe that was part of it. Families go through struggles and hard times, some more severe than others, but you gotta stay focused, and you can get out of this. If there's anyone out there that is struggling with this, my God, find a purpose, find a reason, find something.
Shannon, there's so many people. I don't know if you've listened to the last podcast, Worth the Work. So they are therapists, and they're here in Bucks County, and the problems with the pandemic is tenfold. Everything has increased: domestic abuse, child abuse, drinking, everything, drugs, you name it. It's gotten so bad they can't keep up. So when I told them that you were coming on here, and they said it's like the best thing you could do is have someone come on and talk about it, so other people can hear this, because
Mm-hmm.
there is tons of people struggling with these problems, and
Yeah.
you're giving the voice that people can get help. It's not the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
It's not.
you
It
can
may
do
seem
it.
like it is, and
Sure, it is.
it really seems like it is the end of the world. And I think about that often too, about, how I would be through this pandemic if I was still actively drinking. And I can't, it makes me physically sick to think about that, because I know how much it would have um, magnified by so
Oh
much.
yes, it would have.
And I feel for these people, and you know, just hoping and praying
Mm-hmm.
that they can muster up enough strength and
Mm-hmm.
will and desire, and to do what they have to do to get well.
I hope so. I hope they can, because there's women and men out there that they lost their business, they lost their jobs, their home. If
Yep.
the woman or the men were not drinking before, they started to drink because they were
Yeah.
home, and it started
I've
to
heard that.
intensify, and just there's so
Yeah.
many problems. And
I've heard that. I've heard that quite a few
it's
times, that
true.
people, yeah, they would drink, socially, or whatever the case, and now they're at home because they're working at home,
Mm-hmm.
and they're drinking wine while they're at
A
home all day
lot.
long, and it's like, oh my God, what are you thinking?
I heard this
You
from
know, they
a
don't they don't,
therapist.
and
Yes.
you don't see the downward
Mm-mm.
spiral until it's happening to you.
Mm-hmm.
And then, usually by that time you're too weak and too tired to fight your way out of that madness. And it's madness.
It is madness, and I condemn. I mean, you are an amazing woman. You are very strong to get through all those years of all those problems and to come out of it, and now you're talking about it, and not just that, and you can tell them that you've got a business. Not only did you come out of it and you've got your daughter back, and you're in your, it's just, how did you even start that? I mean, just think about everything you went through, this, the addiction, the recovery, and then to start a business.
Yeah, I actually, when on my way in, because when you call a rehab and they find a bed for you, they will
Mm-hmm.
actually pick you up. So you don't have a choice other than to go straight to the rehab. But in the car on the way there, I decided when I was going to do this, and I was going to go through this whole 30-day program, no matter how much I wanted to come home. And when I got out, I was focused. I knew I wanted to start a business. I
How
knew
many times did so? How many times did you go through the recovery process? Like you said, you were on the fourth round when you saw
Mhm.
Shauna, right? So that's like
Yep.
number four. Is that how
Yep.
many you went through, or did you go through more than that?
Well, I would drink myself to oblivion. Then I would go into rehab saying I'm going to quit. Everything's going to be better. And this is why I'm pretty sure that both of my children um, gave up on me, because I would go in, and when you go into rehab, they put you through a detox program, which is 5 to 7 days, depending on the severity. And then you go into the inpatient, which is they actually house you. You stay there. You do meetings 8 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Wow.
And what would happen was I would go there, and this happens a lot. You go there, you go through the detox, because detox from alcohol is absolutely brutal. You can die from it. You can literally die from it. There's only
So
two
you
things that
die
you
from
can die from:
detox.
withdrawal. Yes, and that's alcohol and benzos. Those are the two things you can die from the
Oh
withdrawal.
my.
And I would just sign myself out after the detox period was over, and I'd go home, and I'd be sober for 2 3 days, and then I'd start drinking again, because I didn't have the knowledge that
Mm-hmm.
going into the program
Mm-hmm.
taught me, the tools and how to deal with life situations without turning to a drink. And so I toughed it out. I stayed the 30 days. I
Mm-hmm.
was determined. I wanted to start my own business when I got out of there. And I own a cleaning business. And I started out literally with a mop, a bucket, and a vacuum cleaner that I bought at a yard sale.
Oh my gosh.
And that was 5 years ago. And I worked and worked and worked. And today I have a total of 7 employees.
Oh my gosh, you have 7
Yeah,
employees. Oh wow.
7 employees.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, we have 59 clients on a monthly basis.
Wow.
And needless to say, I'm I'm comfortable. I'm doing very, very well for myself. And I am
I am
forever grateful.
so proud of all your accomplishments, everything that you've done. You got through all that rehab and
Yeah,
you made it, you survived. And
I
just to
did.
think about, you were thinking about, a business. And one of
Hmm.
the last things you thought about in one of the last rehabs you did,
Yeah.
you're like driving and you're going home. Is that what it was? And you just thought, I want to start a business.
Well, I was actually thinking of this on the way to rehab.
Oh, you were thinking
And
about to rehab.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And but I had myself so focused. I knew when I got out of rehab, I had to keep myself busy,
And that's what you did.
and that's what I did. And I've never thought in a million years how successful it would have been. In fact, I
Basic
have,
tools.
yes,
That's what you
I
had.
just needed the tools, and I have cleaning companies that have been in business for 65 years calling me and asking me advice.
Oh wow, that's incredible.
Exactly. And I just, I get a little choked up when I talk about it because it's, I remember a time when people didn't even want me to, be in their house,
Yeah,
and
now
I'm
you
like,
got
I'm
people that
doing
are in
family.
long-term businesses calling you for advice. That's
Yep.
just, that is really powerful to tell people how
Yep.
you got through this mess, survived it all. You have this business that you started out with just a couple items. Just
Yeah.
it's like, and you started this little business, and all of a sudden, 5 years later, it's a booming business.
It is absolutely booming. I am right now. I'm looking at a award that I had got for best cleaning service in the Lehigh Valley, um, and that was awarded to us in, what does that say, Shauna? 2017, and we bypassed the top main cleaning businesses that everyone has
Oh,
heard of
oh my
by.
gosh, that's a huge congratulations to you that you got.
Absolutely. Yeah, when I got that, of course I bawled my eyes out and I couldn't believe it. It's almost like I still have to pinch myself to make sure that it's real, that I'm not dreaming. I
No,
look outside. I,
it's
I
really,
remember driving around in a little
it's really
beat
good.
up Subaru that, it was leaking gas when I would go to my part-time job at a retail store, and now I have a reliable
Oh
vehicle.
no, I saw. Yeah, when
You remember that
I've
car?
been watching. I've been watching you on your Facebook over the years, and I've seen things that have changed. As the business grew, you're able to actually. You got a car that you loved, and
Yeah.
it wasn't falling apart and leaking oil and having all these problems and breaking down the road. But
Yeah,
you got
it's
a
it's a
really
luxury vehicle,
beautiful
and it was
car.
my dream car.
You
My
did.
dream
You
car.
got your dream car.
I did.
No more alcohol, no more
Nope.
down the hell, and you came out of it. And
I
look
did.
at you. I mean, your daughters are proud of you. Your
Oh,
friends
incredible.
are proud of
Incredible.
you. And it's you. You did it on your own. You did it on your own. You had to. You had to
I did it
survive.
absolutely on my own, and I think that's what I take the most pride in. That I didn't have someone say, "Hey, here's a loan. Go ahead and start." Nothing. I mean, I literally started
Start from
out
the
with a mop
bottom.
and bucket and vacuum, and I like to say I cleaned up I was cleaning while I cleaned up my act.
Well,
Um,
what is
and
your so your business is called what? What's the name of your business?
it is about to shine cleaning.
You're about to shine cleaning. Well, you know what? You are shining as bright as your business.
Oh,
About to
thank
shine,
you.
and you are a very beautiful and bright woman who
Thank
is
you.
shining to. It's a beautiful world for you right now. It's shining brightly.
It
And
is,
you
and
named your business right because it's about
yeah,
you. And you
yeah,
shine. Your daughter is making you shine even more because I know she's right there with you during this whole process.
she
And
sure
she's
is.
actually part. Is she part of? She was part of your business for a while though, wasn't she? Did
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
she is. She knows the ins and outs. She Now she works at the hospital full time, but when she has off or when she has extra time, she absolutely pitches in. You know, she's all about grabbing a vacuum cleaner and a caddy and going in and kicking butt. And so, you know,
Oh.
she is definitely a big part of this business.
Hmm.
I lean on her for a lot of things, you know, and
People love your business. I actually had a few people contact me, and this is going back a while ago, this is years ago. When you first started, they had contact. I said, yes, absolutely. She's, you know, a hard worker, and
Mhm.
she'll do very well taking care of your place or your business, whatever you have. And my mom can attest to that because, all right, Shannon, my mother listens to every single show on the podcast. Okay,
Oh,
so when she hears you, she's gonna hear this podcast. And Mom, you're out there. She can attest to your cleaning because
yeah.
you had cleaned her place for, I believe, a couple years. You were
Yeah,
going
yeah.
in there, and
We actually, I enjoyed coming to your mom's because you know, I know your mom for many years,
yeah,
and you know, I really, I have strong feelings towards your mom because she too has seen me in some pretty
she
bad
did.
situations,
Yeah, we were
and
there. Yeah,
yet she's still entrusted in me coming into her house
to
and
clean.
cleaning
Hmm.
and doing my thing, and I think I earned her trust, her
Oh my
respect, and
gosh. Over those years, yes.
yeah,
She saw it
yeah,
all too. I mean, she's there
she
at the
did.
farm. She knew what was going on. And I would
Mhm.
go up to the farmhouse after, day down at the barn and say, well, this happened. Shannon was here and these things
Mhm.
happened. I'm like, I can't, it's just a lot of tough love going on there, a lot of
Oh yeah,
heartache.
oh
But
yeah,
she knew eventually at some point, she knew that you'd come out of it. She had faith in you that you would come out of it. And
yes. And you know what? Your mother is one of those people that just like you. I mean, I guess that's where you learned it. She's
yeah,
non-judgmental, and you know, somehow, some way, she sees the good in everybody, and
she does. Hmm.
I think that is fantastic, and I definitely benefited from that with the two of you because I consider you guys very, very close friends, and I
Yeah,
do still have to go get there to see your mother because I
she
haven't seen
loves
her in a
you.
while.
She loves you like a daughter, believe me. She misses everybody from the
Yeah,
farm. She misses the
yeah, I gotta
horses.
get there.
She misses it. And,
Oh, I'm sure.
I
I'm
have to
sure.
make sure that you have that address to make sure you go and see her. But you
Yeah.
can only see her 15 minutes. That's it. And
Hmm.
there's a time period of from 10 to 12 that you can only see her between those 2 hours for 15
Okay.
minutes.
Okay.
And it can
I'll
be,
take it.
yeah, and it can be
I'll
any
take the
day of the
15
week.
minutes.
They don't have certain days. It's just those times.
Right.
But
Right. Okay.
she'll be excited to hear you. She's
I
gonna love
and you know
this.
what? And I'm excited to see her again. It's been a while, and then
Yeah.
with this whole Corona thing, I mean, this is, and I
So
think that
yeah,
the
that's
people that are affected the most by this whole pandemic is the elderly
oh,
and the
absolutely,
children. The
David.
you know the young kids, they can't be
Hmm.
with their friends, and the
Hmm.
elderly can't be with their
Oh,
families,
it's
and
horrible. Yeah, it is
it's
horrible.
devastating. You
How did
know,
you? So here's a question for you. This is something we always talk about with everybody. How has this crisis, this pandemic, how has it either hurt you or has it helped you during this time with the cleaning business?
it helped us. Absolutely. When we very first realized that we had, you know, everybody, it was a mandatory shutdown.
Mm-hmm.
We were considered essential because we not only clean but we sanitize, and you know, so we were able, through the government, through the governor, we were allowed to clean. Um, I gave my employees a choice, and I said, "This is your health. This is your life. This You decide what you want to do because I'm going to you know, I owe everything to my employees.
Mm-hmm.
I would be nothing without their hard work, and I respect them." And they all decided to not continue for the time being. And I
Oh,
respected that. So we took 2 months off.
okay.
Um, but it benefited us because when things started opening back up, my God, my phone started ringing, and to this day, it hasn't stopped.
Oh my.
It's
So you
just
started really
people
getting more work
calling, and
because people wanted cleaning.
Well, yeah, that and they're sick and tired of being in their house. So when they, they don't want to be in. They spent months and months there. Now they're able to leave their house. They want someone else to come in and clean.
Oh wow. So they
And then
would
we
leave the
sanitize.
house, you come in and clean, they get out for a
Mhm.
while so you
Yep,
could get it sanitized.
yep,
Oh,
absolutely.
that's great. And so, there are some businesses that have survived and they've done
Yeah,
well and it even has increased. So
yeah. Now
you're one of them.
I have to mention the fact that when we were not working for 2.5 months, that my clients that I have had since day one
Mm.
were, and God bless each and every one of them, were sending me checks for cleaning, even though we weren't cleaning.
Oh my gosh.
How about that?
That is you
Yeah.
have wonderful clients.
I
They were
love,
worried
you know what?
about you. They were
I have
worried.
the best clients ever, and I was just so humbled by it and so grateful. But yeah, they sent checks every week and said, this isn't your fault. You and your
Yeah.
family still have to eat. You still have a staff, and yeah, they saved our butts for
We
those
have to
couple of
thank
months.
every single one of them. If they're going to listen to this podcast and they hear this, we're
Mm,
thanking every single one of your clients for the help that
absolutely.
you received during that
Yes.
time.
Yep. Yep. For sure.
Oh, wow, that's incredible. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a rough time for everybody, and I lost mine, of course, that because I was in the travel industry. So,
Hmm.
I feel like I needed to help people, and that's one of the reasons I started this. And it is
Yeah.
helping people because when I get done with this interview, I'm still got two to do, and then yours will go up later today. This will go out all social media platforms everywhere. It'll have
Right.
all the links in that podcast. It'll have the links in the YouTube, and it gets broadcast out there. It's usually hitting around 70 to 100,000 people,
Wonderful.
and it's like I don't know
Exciting.
if people in Europe cannot use your services, but they can definitely. It's
Well,
not
I'm
just
certainly going to tell. I'm going to tell them to now, whether they do it now or not. I'm
whether
going to.
they like I said, they're all over the world, but really what we wanted to talk about, and not just about your business, but really about this addiction and recovery, and that was the focus of the podcast,
Right,
of
right.
helping
I mean,
people, and that they still are able to get help out there, just
right. And
hopefully.
some. I'm sorry. Some of the smartest people, and this is a fact. Some of the smartest, most creative, most determined people in the world are addicts and alcoholics because we put a lot of time and effort into our disease. And we mastered it and we're good, but
Good at it.
all people need is that one thing to click, and they have to know that things can change. I'm living the life that
Hmm.
I never thought imaginable ever in a million years.
Oh, I was
And
proud of
I'm
you.
doing it.
I was so proud of you when you finally made it through, because I knew there was a few times you had gone and then came back. You just went back to it. You went to
Yep.
therapy. You came back and you fell back down again.
And but at the same time, I was married to an alcoholic, so I would come out of rehab
Mm.
and I'd go back into a house with alcohol. You can't do that. I
Well,
mean, you've got to change.
he was very good at hiding it. Like he
He
was
was
what they call what do they call it? Functioning
functioning
alcohol.
alcoholic.
Yeah.
Functioning alcoholic, yeah. And but that's I can't blame it totally on him because I'm my own person. I'm a grown woman. I make my own choices, but I fell into that as well,
Mm.
and I ran with it. I was really good at being a drunk, so I thought, you
Yeah. You
know.
just didn't see it. You didn't know.
Mhm. Yeah,
No.
yeah.
Yeah, I have a
So
question. So I mean, I know you probably you don't see him or talk to him probably. Do you know if he's still there drinking and still
he's
Yeah.
yes, he's very actively drinking.
he's
Yes,
still doing it?
yeah.
And how many years has that been for him?
Oh my god.
Well, he's 11 years older than me, and when we met, we were drank every day since then. We were married for 17 years.
You're talking over 30 years drinking.
Oh,
Easily.
easily,
40?
easily. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Um, and hey, if that's his choice. The
mm,
fact of the matter is, you can't force someone to see they have a problem.
no. No, you're right.
They have to know it in their heart, and then they have to be willing to make all the necessary changes to come out of it. But my God, if you could see the the light at the end of the tunnel, I mean, it's absolutely amazing. As a matter of fact, when I was in rehab, I wrote myself a letter. Now I don't know where it is right now, and I couldn't read it if I wanted to. I fall. But I wrote myself a letter about my goals and my aspirations and what I wanted to do with my life.
Mm-hmm.
And that letter helped me through a lot of times when I started getting the urge to drink or whatever. I would go
Mm-hmm.
back and I would read the letter to myself. And that
Yeah.
was very important to me because it was me talking to me. So there was no hiding anything. It was like an
Writing's therapy.
8-page letter.
Yeah.
And I even went beyond my expectations when I was focused on things. So I blew myself away. It's
Wow.
it's amazing. It's a fantastic story, and
And this
I
is the
am
first
blessed.
time we've ever talked about it in this depth.
Absolutely. Yes. Yep. I
Shauna, was she scared to talk about it today?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, not necessarily about the subject, but she is very shy when it comes to speaking to people, and her having the knowledge that it's going to be posted somewhere made her just a little anxious. But
Well, it's easier to
that's
do it
fine.
here because we're not zooming. You don't see you. We're not doing live Facebook feeds. We're not doing live IG TV. We are
exactly,
hearing the voice.
I was just it. It was funny. Like a few seconds before you called, I just looked at her. I was like, "Mom, it's just Martha. You're just talking
That's
to
right.
Martha."
It's just me,
She's
and
like,
that's
"Yeah,
where
you're right." Like,
I've been
Yep.
told from previous calls that I've done for previous podcasts. They're like, "Wow, you really made me feel at ease. You're really easy
Yeah.
to talk
You do.
to," and it's
You
like
do.
it's just a phone call. That's all
Yeah.
I'm doing. Is it's like calling your best friends, and there's people
Yeah.
I've never met them, but we've talked on the phone. And when I did the podcast, it's like, wow, it's like just talking to my best friend, and I've never met
Yeah.
you.
Oh, yeah, yeah, you're definitely easy to talk to, and I've never told my story, even at when I did attend AA for the first 3 years of my sobriety.
Yeah.
I still do online AA classes when I need them, and I do need them more often than I'd like to admit. But um, I never told my story in AA because, well, I'm terrible at speaking in front of crowds, and B, I just didn't feel it was time for me to let that guard down to where I feel exposed now because other people heard my story,
They did.
and that is something that I hold very, very dear to me, and now I shared it with other people, and I'm very grateful for this opportunity. But I just didn't see before this, I didn't see the right time to do that, and you allowed me to express that, and I'm hoping and praying, and I wish that I could help every alcoholic or addict out there, but I unfortunately I can't. They've got to do it themselves, but my God, it is worth it.
Well, I'll tell you what. Have you ever thought about doing a series of not? You can do a podcast series, or you could do a series on YouTube, and it doesn't have to be. You can just do voice, and you can make a channel for people. You could do a weekly series about this, and that would help
Right.
people. You really could.
Yeah.
You could pick a subject every week,
Mhm.
and it reaches out to those people. But the problem is, if you do have alcoholism out there, and people on drugs, they will listen and they might forget. Like you said, you always forgot things. Like you
Mhm.
got so drunk and you forget.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it's hard to help people. I mean, they can listen, but
Yes.
they have to act on their own to help themselves.
That you worded it perfectly. And I mean, with my business that I'm in, and as much as it's flourishing and we are doing so wonderful,
Mm-hmm.
honestly, I wouldn't have time to do that.
Oh, that's
I would
true,
love
right?
to have time, but there are online groups that you can join.
There
They're
is.
all
Yeah.
anonymous groups. It doesn't have to necessarily be AA.
Mm-hmm.
But find something. Just
Yeah, well,
start
but
taking
Facebook has
one
a
step.
ton of groups. I mean, there's hundreds of thousands of groups,
Hmm.
and there are people out there that you can get in those groups and talk. It's like anything. Every group, anything out there that you love, it's there. whether you fly
Yeah.
planes, whether
Yeah.
you ride horses, or whatever that may be.
Oh, you
It's
have the
there.
world at your fingertips.
Right,
You
and
really do.
between the IG and the Facebook, it's out there, and there's so
Yeah.
many people to connect to. And
Yeah.
it's an
Yeah.
amazing world that we live in today. Versus if you go back, if you go back all those years when we were friends at 20, 25 years ago, we didn't have that. That wasn't
Right. Yeah.
available.
We didn't.
Even
Right. Right.
when I started the farm, it wasn't there. I mean, it was there, but it wasn't like it is today. And that you're going back years ago, 15
Mhm.
years ago. Like when my dad, when he disappeared during that time, that's when like the internet was like coming into like it's really starting to get known. I remember getting on the internet, it's like, and it was so slow, and like looking up like what is Alzheimer's, and you would look and it's like, oh, I think that's what my father has, but the computer was such a slow thing. There was no Facebook, there wasn't out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. The technology today is
It's
it's unbelievable. But
fascinating.
you know what really pisses me off about technology?
What's that?
Oh God,
What?
here we go.
The fact that I can't get mad at someone and slam the phone down. It's like, okay, you blah 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 blah. Beep. There's no ending in that,
No.
you know.
No, it's not the same. You can't do that. Oh, you always, you still have your sense of humor. You still have your sense of humor, even after all those years of all that abuse and everything that you did that to yourself. You still
I did.
laugh.
I really abused my body so much, and you know I'm starting to feel it at 51 years old now, but hey, I still get up every day and I go to work and I kick butt and it's been a wild ride.
Did
It has been
you,
wild.
Shannon? It's been a wild ride, and it's been a good wild ride. Ups
Okay.
and downs. But did you want to tell anybody else like anything? Have you had any health problems from all that, from all the drinking over the years? Has your body survived that? Has your mind is good? But what about, has it done any physical problems to you? Have you noticed that? I mean, that was years of drinking. So,
Right. Now, it does not stem to drinking. But a year and 3 months ago,
Yeah.
I was unfortunately diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer.
oh,
It was not. It was not.
due to the drink? It wasn't due to
It
the
wasn't due
drinking,
to the
was it?
drinking. In fact, it wasn't even due to smoking. It was actually environmental.
Oh,
Yeah, it's the type of cancer that I have is specific to environmental, and it's a terrible thing, and it's awfully scary.
I'm so sorry
Um,
that after all that you went through,
After all that, yeah, but you
you
know
come
what?
out of it shining bright. And then it
Hmm.
was soon after that you got that, a few years you got diagnosed with this cancer.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, I'm fighting through it, and I have my kids' support,
You are. You're
and
getting
I'm
through it.
doing my treatments, and I'm going at well, now it's every 6 weeks. It was every three, to Fox Chase Cancer Center in Philadelphia, and they have literally saved my life. I'm to the
Fox
point
Chase
now
is
where
fantastic. You're doing the
it
right thing.
is fantastic, and I owe everything to them
Yeah.
because they literally say, I mean, I was stage 4, and pardon.
You didn't even want treatment.
Yeah, I didn't even want treatment,
You
but
didn't
then when
want.
he told
You
me,
didn't even want treatment.
no, I just, because you hear the horror stories that treatment makes you so sick, and I said to the oncologist, I said, I don't want to talk about treatment. I'm not interested. And he said, well, that's fine. He said, you make your own decisions. He says, but untreated, you're looking at about 6 months.
Oh my gosh.
And
Yeah.
my whole world just stopped, and I thought, I can't leave my children in 6 months. So I was
No.
like, okay, let's talk about treatment options. And so I did it, and I am still currently doing it, the immunotherapy. And as of today, it is virtually undetectable on
Really.
scan, except for some scar tissue. Yeah.
So they've treated you, and you're coming out of it just like
Yeah.
you came out of all the alcohol, and now you're
Yep.
coming out of the cancer.
How
See,
about
you're
that?
a fighter.
Ah,
You are a fight. You know, you were fighting me back then because you didn't want me to help you, and you're fighting this damn cancer. Like you fought this. You know, you're tough. There's only a certain amount of tough women out there, and I knew you were one of them. But you fought through all this, and look at you survive.
Yep.
You're surviving.
I mean, I do. I have my bad days, but when I have my good days, boy, they are super good. And I try to stay active. I try to, you know, maintain my normal lifestyle where, you know, I don't have very many, I'm not, not too many restrictions or nothing like that.
Shauna's gonna, you know, Shauna's your daughter, and she's gonna be 10 times.
Absolutely.
She's
you know
tough.
what? I
like
pity everyone out there, and I apologize in advance for if you ever have a run-in with my daughter, because she has got her mother's personality and determination. So we're all screwed, really.
Wow, what a story! What a story you have told today. You know, I just can't believe everything that you've gone through. How many years it's been? You know, I lose track of time. I didn't realize how long it's been since you've gotten through all this. It's been, what, a 5-year mark recovery?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. And, you know, talk about reason to go back to drinking and everything. And you know, you have your slip ups but you got to get back on the horse, and you got to realize, you know, the days I could have 2 years left, I could have 20 years, who knows? But I want those years to be happy ones.
Yeah,
you know?
want them to be good, and you want your, you know, your daughter. I know that Shauna's getting married, so you want to be there for that wedding.
Oh,
and you want to be there. You know, she's gonna have kids at some point. No, Shauna, yes, you are. You're gonna get married. There's gonna be kids involved here at some point.
I try to. That's the goal. I try to
make Shannon a grandmother.
Oh my God, I can't wait. She cannot wait. I'm like dying for this.
You have survived all this.
Go into the store, she will drag me to the baby section and start to try to pick out clothes, and there's nothing in the oven.
And there's gonna be cute, and it's gonna be the cutest clothes, because I remember the cutest clothes that she would just get for the dogs.
Yeah.
She just like, she has that taste, that very pretty, and it's just beautiful look for her dogs. Can you imagine your baby is going to have like the best of, she's going to, whatever you have, a boy or a girl, it's going to be fantastic.
That child will be in need of nothing. Trust me. I will do whatever. I will do anything.
I will never be able to
we got to get her married first, because she hasn't been able to get married because of this whole, I guess the pandemic stopped that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I gotta change it.
Yeah, I decided to move the wedding back a year. I mean, you can't rely on people taking the proper protocols and wearing the proper PPE. So I mean, it's for my own sake as well as my family. I mean, during these times, it's unfortunate, but we all need to be a little bit selfish to help protect the ones around us and the ones that we love. And I'm not gonna risk my mother's health for 5 hours of a day just because I want it. So
that's
we
fantastic.
Made the choice to move it, and so it'll be much safer, hopefully, next year.
You did the right thing for that, because you work in the healthcare and you see what's going on. Your mom is at a higher risk because of the problems that she has, and she cannot be exposed to anything. She has to be very careful.
I actually, when this all started, I was actually exposed at work, and I got COVID.
You did?
I did, yes.
Oh. No.
And I quarantined myself. And like my mother said prior, I live one door down. And so my mother and I would communicate. Well, we went from seeing each other every day, basically all day, to seeing each other through a window for 51 days.
Oh my.
And that was hard.
Oh, that's brutal.
That was the hardest part of it, was not being able to see my mom. But I mean, I only got through that and got my negative results back. It was like two people in those big fields where they run up to each other and just hug. It was like one of those moments.
It was one of those moments. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah,
I can see that. oh, it's so scary that you had it, but and you got through it. But oh, it's so horrible.
Yes.
You can't see your mother, your loved ones.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, my mom's my best friend, so not being able to see her and only seeing her through glass was horrible.
Yeah, yeah, it is horrible. I know. I was doing FaceTime with my mom because I couldn't go see her at all because she's in the home, and and mom doing FaceTime. Luckily she knew how to do it, but it's still not the same. You're seeing her through the phone or seeing her through glass. It's it's horrible.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, and it's I'm just waiting to get through all this.
You're a beautiful family. You have beautiful love for each other, and you saw each other through these rough times, and to come through the success story of the business, and you're getting married, and we got babies coming, and it's just I have this beautiful feeling all over my body right now. I just feel love for you guys, and I'm so happy you have survived, and you've made it a wonderful experience to be on this podcast. You have made it for other people to hear this, and hopefully it helps the families that are suffering. Maybe they have a loved one that has the addiction, that have the problems, and if they hear this, maybe they can try to learn from it. Hopefully get their family some help. But I know it's impossible to try to get family help. It really is about that person. That person has to help themselves.
The family members and the loved ones can help them realize that there's a problem.
Yeah.
The rest is up to them, is up to the alcoholic themselves.
Yeah, because we've tried over those years to help you, and it just it didn't come from us. We were kind of guiding you, but it was your choice. You had to make it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Real quick, if there's anyone watching that's considering or leaning towards getting help, even during this pandemic, there's outlets for you online, over the phone. You just need to use Google. That's what Mom's been doing. I know I see a lot of that online, people sharing links to AA meetings or NA meetings, things of that sort. So just because we're locked at home trying to stay safe doesn't mean that you can't get the help you need. It's at your fingertips.
Absolutely.
That's great. That's great advice. And what we can do for the podcast, we will get some links. Maybe Shannon, you can send some over that would be helpful, because not only with a business, we can put your business link in there. We will put Facebook stuff in there if you have an Instagram, we'll put it in there. I know Shauna, you have one, but does Shannon have one for the business?
Not for the business.
Okay,
no.
So we'll put the link in for your website, for your Facebook, but let's put those addiction in there. We'll put all that in there for help for people.
Sure.
So send me some links out there, okay? And then I can get that in the podcast. And it doesn't have to be right away. I know you have to go to work in a couple minutes here. You have to leave. And then you can send those over sometime today, and I can get those in, and we'll publish this later today, later in the afternoon, or maybe an early evening situation, so it gives you time to get them off. Okay,
that sounds great.
All right, you guys are beautiful. I love you.
Oh my God,
I love you too, Martha.
I love you both. You are my sisters. You really are. And I miss you, but stay safe, stay healthy, and continue to shine as bright as you can, as you have this beautiful business and beautiful daughter. We love you so much. Okay.
Thank you, Martha. Love you too.
Love you.
All right. Take care, guys. Have a good day.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, wow. That was a wonderful, wonderful interview with Shannon and Shauna. I miss those two. I've been friends so long with them, and to see Shannon struggle all those years, that she really hit rock bottom. She hit that hell. And I didn't know she was ever going to come out of it. I saw her struggle through so many years of it. And I was always there to help her, but it just didn't work. But I never judged her. I kept believing at some point she would come out of it. And she did. She did it on her own. It was hard. She went through multiple times of therapy, and then go back home, and then fall back down, come back out of it. And she did it. And not only that, she has this business about to shine, We will put that link in there to the podcast, and we'll make sure that it gets out on all social media, just like everything else I do. And she will have a YouTube, and she will have that. She'll be excited to see it because it's going to have all her photos in there and her links. And it's just a beautiful story to know that she has survived all that, even when she got her cancer, which was diagnosed not too long after this whole addiction problem that she had. And she still has a struggle with the cancer, but she's coming out of that too. She is a tough fighter. She's got this. And I love those two like my family. And I'm so proud of Shannon. I'm proud of Shauna because she saw it all and struggled through it too. And now she's got a great job at the hospital, and she's gonna get married. It's just an amazing story that there is light at the end of the tunnel. You can do this. You can survive. Tough as nails. Tough as nails. That's what you have to be, and you can do it. So everyone, I want everyone to have a great day, a great weekend, beautiful day out there. Get out there and enjoy the sunshine, enjoy the beautiful fall air, and remember, don't spook everybody to that they're going to be frightened. You want to have fun with Halloween, but don't make it too scary to give somebody a heart attack. It is a very haunting month of October. We have much more to come our way. We have on Sunday, we have Grunge Puppy coming on. And we will have also a couple cancer patients, surviving breast cancer patients coming on. And also we've got Pine to Pink, who is right here in Doylestown. So we've got some shows coming up the rest of the month. I want you to stay tuned. In the meantime, have an awesome weekend. This is Bucks County Bites, over and out.